Well, good morning, guys. Welcome to Words from a Friend podcast. I'm your host, Marty Carey, and this is the podcast that follows my book, Words from a Friend, A Daily Guide to a Purposeful Life. It's available at Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. We're on a 365-day inner journey together, so happy and grateful to have you along. We're on day 92 of that journey, and today's message is be the silent witness. Be it, because that's who you really are, is the silent witness, the ghost in the machine. And here we go. You are not your mind. You are not your thoughts. You, the real you, are the silent witness behind both. What the heck does that mean? When I first heard these words from author Eckhart Tolle, I asked that very question, but it soon became the most powerful wisdom of my life. We are the ghost in the machine, the witness who needs to grab the wheel of our thought life and steer that sucker like Mario Andretti. You, my friends, are that driver. You are that driver. We got to stop waiting for something outside of us to drive that. No, we are the driver. We are the energy that it takes. We're the gas, we're the car, and we are the destination. It's all in here. It's all in here. You are Mario Andretti or Maria Andretti. Mindfulness, self-awareness, the watcher of our thoughts. These are many names for the same powerful practice of not only watching the pattern of our own thinking, but shifting ourselves into the driver's seat. We must do this, or we'll stay in the passenger seat, or worse yet, the back seat, with the lower ego self at the wheel, just giving it over, just letting it run on autopilot. Which in this world, autopilot, what we consider normal is just low vibing, or just middle of the road stuff. Never seeking anything more from within ourselves. Never even looking in there. Just living from what you see outside and reacting to it. Now that's the ego world. We have to recreate ourselves and recreate constantly. Constantly. We're constantly shedding old skins. With what? With new information. With better information. That information of the real self. Well, that real self information is always within you, and it can resonate. For example, if you're watching this podcast and you hear these little nuggets of truth, they resonate in you as truth. They resonate in you, like a tuning fork in your heart. In your heart. Ever see those pictures of Jesus and he's always pointing like this with a couple of fingers and he's got the heart right here and it's got like a sun burst behind the heart on him? Yeah. Well, that's just to tell you that that's not just a inner mechanism pumping blood through your veins. No. In there is wisdom from the ancients is in there. Sounds crazy, and I understand that. But when you sit in silence and you let things bubble up, over time, what you find is that there's a vastness within you, that you'll never get to unless you become comfortable in the silence, become comfortable in it. Because we can be scared of just being quiet. We're so filled with noise every day that silence feels threatening. It can feel unnerving, right? There's a lot of people that can't be alone or don't want to be alone or have to have the TV on in the background or the radio's always got to be on, something to, But what that is over time is that we become addicted to that noise. And we don't know the beautiful nature, our own beautiful nature of silence within. That's the heaven within, the resting place for us while we go through this earthly world, this human journey. We have to have that resting place of knowing that, really, we fear a lot of stuff that there's no reason to fear. If we knew who was walking beside us, within us, really, within us and beside us, we would never have fear. But this planet it just pushes it on us until it's become this real thing, like it's fear or love, when fear is this big and love is actually everything. Love is actually everything. Love is the universe, the universal energy of unconditional love. It's the best way a human peanut brain like ours can explain it, right? But it's the vastness of all possibility, of all creation. And we are a cup of that creation, so we are individual creators. Well, we have the ability to create peace on this planet, But, peace is not profitable. Did you ever hear that one? Peace is not profitable. Well, there you go. So what? Peace is way better than that. Because what we find through peace and coming together in unity is that, all this stuff was never necessary. It was all built up for individuals to be rewarded, ill-gotten gains of the largest scam there ever was is the system that is set up right now. It's a horrible system. It demands constant conflict. It demands it. The system demands it. The system of fear, the system based on ego, separate selves. Like we're not one family. We're just a bunch of buzzing little bees that can hate each other all the time if we're told to. Like we just easily go into it. Wait a second. I thought they were our friends. Wait, they're our enemy now? Okay. And we just take things like that as truth. No, we've got to think for ourselves. And the only way to really find truth is within. You've got to settle down and you've got to let the noise go. And the truth bubbles up. It's there. It's always there. It's like the sun is always there behind the clouds of misperception. The clouds of misperception that are placed upon us every day. Every day, my friends. All right? Love is the conqueror of all of that because love is truth. And fear is a lie. Fear is a lie that they make real by, hatred, war, weaponry, all of that stuff is based because we're afraid of each other, because we pose a threat to each other. When in truth, that's all a lie. That's all a lie that's been handed to us and taught to us since birth, who our enemies are and all that stuff, when really it's a big game at the top. It's a big game at the top. And we've been pawns for centuries. But the truth is taking over. It's all coming up within us. It's all ascending within us. It's not something that fear can stop, because fear is an illusion and the truth is real. So it's all coming up within us. That's called the ascension. It's called the light within. It's called you're raising your awareness into higher levels of frequency within. And on those higher levels of frequency, like a radio station, there's different songs going on. It's a different song up in that level where you go, oh, here you go. WTRUTH radio, truth radio. Yeah, you have to be a truth seeker. Yourself, right in here. Take the time to get to know yourself. Find out what it is that your heart is looking for, and give it to yourself. Fill that cup. All right. So that's your power within. That's your way forward. That's your giddy up. It's all in there, and the connection to the divine is in that heart with the sun behind it, like Jesus is pointing to. It's like, hey, we're all the same. Hey, we're all the same. We're all that. We are all that. All right? That was his message, is that we're all that light. And when we recognize it as ourselves, well, that's really all you want to give, because that's all you want to coming back to your doorstep. So that's how it works. Everything goes out, must come back. As within, so without. As above, so below. So this is your job. This is all our job. But it is the best work you can do. It's the most noble work. It's the most prosperous work you could ever do for yourself and your family and for your businesses or whatever you do. I say it every day. You put that magic sauce in all of it. Mindfulness, self-awareness, the watcher of our thoughts, these are many names for the same powerful practice of not only watching the pattern of our own thinking, but shifting ourselves into the driver's seat. We must do this or we will stay in the passenger seat. When we go through life in this lower unconscious state, we don't realize that we have the incredible power within us, dying to get out and steer the vehicle to exciting new places called living. Called living. Getting out of your head and getting into life. Getting out of your head and getting into life. Getting into those things that your heart is pulling you to do. But you just haven't given yourself any time or bandwidth to include it in your life. So that just means that you have to replace some things, some old stuff. And I'm sure you know what you could replace if you had the cojones to do it. Well, those cojones to do that stuff and to move forward and to blast out of old self-defeating habits, mind states, thoughts, actions, and the blabbermouth of negativity. You're speaking. Remember, you're always speaking your life into existence. Watch what those words are. Watch what you're agreeing to. Those words are what you agree to. Those are your agreements. So There's got a lot of stuff that you wouldn't start spitting out if you knew that, the universe is listening and responding, So this is the thing. That's taking command of your ship, command of your wand, what you want to create your life with. So it is thoughts. The spoken word, very powerful, even more powerful than your thoughts, because you're speaking it into being. It's a creation in itself, your words. So be mindful. Be really mindful of that. The spoken word is really powerful. Okay? You don't think so. So stop talking yourself down. Stop talking doom and gloom. Stop talking the old story of doom and gloom. You got to start telling a new story. You have to start telling a new story in the direction of where you really want to be, not where you've been. Past is gone. Has no power over you unless you keep waving that wand and bringing it back up into your present. Hey, let's bring that yesterday crap up here again today. Let's live that again, huh? Hey, do you remember yesterday when I was pissed? I'm going to be pissed again today about that same thing. No. Remember, that's your vehicle. That's the radio station that's on in your vehicle, playing to the universe at all times. You want the lower level complaining, bitching, and moaning, and griping, and lack talk, and all that crap. No, let it go. Let it go like yesterday's garbage. It's gone. It stinks. It's got to go. All right? And start talking in your favor, thinking in your favor first, because then the speech will come from that. If you see a thought that's going to come out of your lips that is going to be not serving where you're going, don't let it out of your lips. Speak the opposite. That way you're retraining your own mind as to where you're going, so that it'll really start being able to see those opportunities, those things that are knocking on our door to get us there, to bring us there. You got to let go of the darkness. You got to let go of those old, crappy, heavy thoughts that you used to think that always got you to the same place, Nowheresville or the sameville. And you want to do something, you want to grow, well, then you have to have new thoughts. You have to have new thoughts, new words, and new actions in favor of those other two things. All right, moving all as a force of goodness. I'm bringing something into life here that is going to be good. That is going to be good because it's coming from my goodness. It's coming from my true self. It's coming from my true self. And I want to express it. And I really believe that it's going to help somebody if I do. There you go. There you go. Put that in your gift, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Or somebody's going to really enjoy it as part of your art, your craft, your cooking, whatever it is you do. Okay? The practice of becoming the silent witness is an ongoing, lifelong practice that is known as awakening from the sleep of egocentric living, arguing, fighting, competing, taking sides, holding grudges, martyrdom, victim-minded, unhealthy, negative energy. Living is all at the wheel when you're asleep in your ego. They're all there when you're asleep in the ego. They're all partners. They're all partners in crime. All partners in self-sabotage, constant arguing, fighting, and competing, taking sides, high school stuff. High school stuff. That's why I say the ego is like our 8-year-old self. No, you. No, you. No, you. No, yeah, but what? No, you are, but what am I? Remember those? No, you are, but what am I? It's the same energy. It's the same energy. Ugh. Good Lord. Learning to watch how your low-energy thoughts have affected you in your life in the past will become totally apparent to you when you learn to witness your mind and how you have unwittingly geared it to your whole life. When you begin to awaken from this nightmare style of thought and living, you'll probably feel bad for past deeds, actions, and thoughts. But don't get stuck in that stuff. Don't get stuck in now you feel guilty and terribly ashamed and all of those things, and then you don't even want to admit it to yourself. Okay, don't worry about that. Admit it to yourself. Make the amends that you have to make. That's that you just rose in your own character. You're building your own character by truth, with truth, so you can stand in it. And there you can really recognize it. You can really recognize it because everybody has that same stuff inside, both the positive and the negative, and they're both affecting everybody's personal world differently than they are yours, because we're all flying our own journey, our own unique individual journey back home. So I always say, what's the best we can do? Well, the best we can do is bring our light to every day, and when we're down, if we're looking for somebody else's light, it will be there. it will be there for you because you have openly expressed to be a safe place to listen to give it from, and to let others know, hey, listen, I've been there, buddy. I've been there, sister. We all have in many different ways and many different circumstances. The answer is always the same. The answer is always the same. Love. Love yourself back. Love yourself up. Love yourself forward. And then put that love into everything you do. That's your magic. When you begin to awaken, let's see, forgive yourself first and foremost. Apologize to those who you've wronged, and get on with your new life. Get on with it, okay? We're all going to screw up. It's in there. It's in there. So you have to stay in that wheel of truth so that you're not carrying all that, I wish I never apologized for that, and now I feel like I this and this and that, and I just was a jackass, and you're holding that stuff. Those are like love handles of negativity. You want to get rid of those, then you got to just start living true. Start being real. Start being real. Take the mask off and just be. This is where I am. This is what I need. This is who I am. If that flies great with you, we can fly together. If not, I wish you the best in your flight. I really do. I wish you the best on your flight. Okay, because it's the way it should be. It's the way it should be. Reshaping your life from a new perspective of finally freeing yourself from low-level living to a whole new you is what you get from assuming total responsibility for your life. 100% responsibility for the outcomes, the results that you're producing from your thoughts, words, and actions. There you go. What results am I getting from my thoughts, words, and actions? Well, I can always adjust those because I am in control of those. I am in control of those. My monkey mind wants to control me now, but I'm learning to work with that and say, no more monkey mind. I see where you've caused this trouble. It took me a lot of introspection to see it. And it took me a lot of pain in looking at myself and saying where I've fallen off and where I've just imitated people from my past, thinking that was the way to handle things, and it really wasn't. So now I want to build a new bridge into a better life for myself. Well, building that new bridge is going to take that same stuff, and it's got to start from within. It's always the journey from within to create a new outside. New outside. Create the vision first. What do you want? Write it down. Nobody ever knows what they want when you ask them, what do you want? I just want to have a great life. Well, what does that look like? What does that mean? What is the definition of success to you in that? Well, I want to be light in whatever I do. I want to bring light to whatever it is, whatever my roles, whatever God chooses for my roles in life and places that I want to go is, becoming a first as, a kid, and then a husband, then a father, and then business and entrepreneurship and all those things that you see for yourself, and I saw for myself. It was always what added the longevity to all things good was the good itself. There's no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. Your happiness is just being your best self. You will be thriving when you work on yourself, and then you start to give that new energy of, I see that I'm working on myself. You start giving that away. It's much more positive energy. When you start doing stuff for yourself and working on yourself, you'll start feeling better about yourself, and that's just the way it works. God wants you to feel really good about who you are and know who you really are. So then there you go. That's the juice for the rest of your life, is knowing who you really are. And God says you can do anything. And you are protected. You are my forever child. So whatever happens in this physical world, fear not. It's only temporary. It's only temporary. But in that temporary, you can really live. You can really live. I mean, in the best way possible. And my friends, giving is living. Giving your light is living. Put it in everything you do. That's where your talents really grow. That's where they really grow. When you say, I'm going to grow, I intend to. I know it's not going to be easy, but, this place is harder when you don't do it intentionally. It's harder when you don't grow. It's harder when you want to stay in old cells and stay in that box. That box gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it crunches you. You got to bust out of that box and say, no, baby, no. I am the light, and that darkness will not beat me. Negative prognosis. Prognosis negative. All right. You're your own hero, my friends. You're your own hero. And you're going to create heroes around you by your example. You're going to create heroes around you just by living as that example, which is what we're called to do, is be a good example. That's it. That's it. Today's CTA. Today begins your new practice of witnessing your pattern of thoughts. Am I a complainer? Well, let's see. How often am I complaining a day? If you had a little counter, one of those little clicker counters, and you pulled it out of your pocket, I was complaining. Click, click, there's one. Oh, man, I wish that had clicked 2. That son of a bitch clicked 3. How many of those would you have for the day? That's, you're taking yourself out of your center. What if you trained yourself to not give as much of a crap about that stuff? Just do the stuff that's in your own garden, in your own control, and be that good part. Because what you're doing by complaining is you're creating a garden around you of complainers. And that's an energy that just goes brrr, and it's not producing what it could. Because you put the light into all that, especially the surroundings of your business or whatever you do, you put that light in there, and you have some uplifters in your team. You got a lot more than you think you do, because it's the atmosphere and the energy around you that produces the best results. Okay. All right. Am I a complainer? Let's see. Am I a controller? Let's see. Am I more interested in winning or being right instead of kind, and just moving forward and getting to the best answer? Let's see. You get the picture. Change happens in every moment, and it all depends on us. It all depends on us. I'm not saying it's easy work. No, it's not. It is not. But when you learn to control your own ship and other people can't bug your ship, and you don't have to complain about the other people, because it's just like, all right, there's an isness to life. There's lots of things you're not going to be able to control. You can add your influence. You can add your example. But there's so many things that are not in your control. What's in my control? My attitude is in my control. My way is in my control. My thoughts, my words, and my actions are in my control. So if I change those for the better, the positive, I will bring that about in my life, and just be consistent about it. Because then it won't be, he just said he's turning over a new leaf or whatever. Now, how long will that last? You're not doing it for them. You're not doing it for them to show them. You're doing it for you, to show you. And take God up on his offer of growing just for you. Growing your garden, a beautiful garden. So that's what the emanation from your message while you're here is about. What are you emanating as your message of this lifetime? What is that? Have you ever thought about it? It's very important. It's very important. Now more than ever. Now more than ever that we spread our light. Come into the truth. And stop worrying about, get over and above the fray, the political scene. Get over and above it, because truth is above all of that. It's above all of it. And it's not necessary. Hate and love can't live in the same space. Can't live in the same space. So just stay in love with everything around you, and don't get into the hatred cycle with everybody else, because hatred isn't going to bring around love. Only love is going to bring around more love, more understanding, higher level of knowing within us all, the return to oneness, knowing that we are all from the same family, knowing what we know when we go to heaven, knowing what we know there, and bringing that knowing here. It's not only possible, but it's what's happening. It's what's happening. And you're part of it. So thank you. Thanks for doing your part. Thanks for going out today and spreading your light. And you're doing way more than you think you are when you do that. All right? You're doing God's work. You're doing the work of the Creator that created you to do just that. The better version of yourself is the one that's the most loving. The one that is compassionate, empathetic. The strength comes from there, really. Because that strength is a knowing strength. Know where I'm from. I know who I am. And I know what I'm supposed to do, even though my ego wants to tell me the otherwise. All right? So give that the old, All right, guys. Much love. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.